I was hoping to film this video here on the beach, but it's a bit windy. Let me take the... Yeah, kitchen it is.
A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. If you need a website or a domain, go to squarespace.com/James for 10% off your first purchase.
Hello everybody, how's it going? Hope you're all well and welcome back to the channel and to what has become a bit of an obsession of mine, sling bags, as you can probably see. Over the past year or two, and you'll have noticed this if you watch my channel a lot, I have acquired about half a dozen sling bags. There are only 5 here because 2 of them are the same. I've got this Peak Design 6-litre sling. I've also got a 10-litre one, and I don't know if they would be classed as 2 different bags. I digress already. Anyway, yes, sling bags I think are just an incredible tool for photographers for a couple of reasons. Number one, size. These are typically 6, 7, 8-litre bags, and what that means is that you can't fit 6 lenses, 2 camera bodies, a drone, all of the batteries that you'd require for those things. You can't pack the kitchen sink, essentially. And that, I think, is fantastic as a tool for creativity, because it means you have to be really intentional about your choices before you leave the house. And also, I think it keeps your bills with the chiropractor down, because even though these bags only go across one shoulder, which is technically not very good for your back, they're small. So they can't weigh much. And as I say, that works well for my back and I think for my photography too. So yeah, today I thought I'd go through some of the pros and cons of some of the most popular slings on the market. And this is far from an exhaustive list of the slings available. There are hundreds, but this is a decent cross-section, I think, of the most popular ones. So yeah, I thought I'd talk about what I like and don't like about these bags in the hope that that's useful. Yeah. Also, I should say that 2 of these bags I've been gifted because I have a YouTube channel. 3 of them are paid for. I'll talk about which ones are gifted and paid for, and yeah, let's get on with it. First up, the Peak Design Sling. This, as I said, is the 6-litre version. I wish I'd got it in black. As you can see, I like black bags, understated. But this bag, I think, for several reasons, is fantastic. Number one, it opens up very wide. You can see that the zips go all the way to the bottom pretty much. And even though it's got these catches, these bits of material here that stop it opening completely, it does open quite nice and wide to allow you to get your stuff in and out very, very easily, which I think is key to a bag like this. If you've got a small bag, the trick to it not feeling small is that it opens up very nicely to make it feel big. Kind of obvious, but important. There's a luggage pass-through, which I really like. You can hook this up to your suitcase when you're traveling through an airport. I do that a lot. Big fan of that. And this metal clasp thing that allows you to play around with the strap, or the length of the strap, seamlessly, is genius. The materials, standard Peak Design, super hard wearing, and I have no problem doing basically anything with this bag. I don't worry about it at all. And I should say, actually, all of these bags that I'm going to talk about, including this one, I wouldn't hesitate to recommend any of them on the grounds of perceived build quality. And I say perceived build quality because I've not had any of them for what I imagine is their lifespan. So I can't really talk about how long they last. But I think all of them, having used them all, I think they will last a long time based on how they feel. So build quality is good on all of them. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother talking about them. So yeah, that's the Peak Design bag. Cool little pocket for an iPad, magnetic, other space for batteries and such. I mean, all these bags have that. But yeah, good little bag. Bag number 2. This is a Bellroy Sling, and I think it's brilliant, but for completely different reasons. The main reason I love this bag is it's incredibly lightweight, but it's still durable, or still feels durable. And I can pack this up basically flat in my suitcase if I don't need to use it through the airport. And in my suitcase, it basically has a non-existent footprint. Zippers are very good quality, and on the inside, it employs a slightly different strategy to the other bags in that it doesn't have removable dividers. And instead, the dividers are sewn in, but you can move them very simply to get them completely out of the way, or you can move them back into place should you want to use them for photography gear. Simple and effective. Again, there's a pocket for batteries, things like that. There's also a front pocket for keeping various bits and pieces, filters and stuff, I guess. And the only issue I have with this front pocket, I discovered in Antarctica and New York earlier this year actually, is that if snow is falling, there's kind of a lip here, and snow sort of collects in that lip. Not the end of the world. These zippers do feel like they're quite weatherproof, but yeah, bit of an odd design from that standpoint. Same problem with rain, I guess. But other than that, great bag, great mix of being lightweight and also feeling durable as well. Also, I should say that all of these bags come with the option of being able to strap a tripod on the bottom of them, either with external straps, which are provided, or pre-installed straps that are already set up on the bag. So if you do want to carry a tripod, it's not really a problem. The weight at the bottom of the bag, I do think is a problem actually, so I never bother, but as you know, I hate tripods. Okay, next up, this is the Gomatic Peter McKinnon collaboration sling, and this is my most recent purchase. I've used this for 1 day of shooting so far. I bought it last week when I was in the Arctic on a workshop because one of the guests had this, and I thought it looked fantastic. There's only one thing I don't really like about this bag, which is the pirate thing, which I know is Peter's thing, and I'm a big Peter McKinnon fan. But the pirate thing is not really for me. So yeah, I'd get rid of that. Apart from that though, this I think is possibly the most complete bag I've ever bought. And all because of the way it opens. Look at that. So you've got room for all your stuff on here, but then this bit sort of opens up onto like almost a tray that you can use to clean your lenses, change your lenses, do whatever you need to do while the bag is on your person. And I think that is brilliant. Kind of similar to the Peak Design one, but it opens even wider and to greater effect. So I think that's brilliant. Also, there's a tab on the inside here, and you can hook it up to the back. So you can close the bag, kind of, without having to always zip it up if you're, I don't know, if you're in and out of the bag over the course of a shoot, for example. Again, there's a luggage pass-through. The pockets, battery holders, card holders, they all feel very well thought through. And as I say, I've only used this bag for 1 day, so what do I know really? But first impressions are that I think this bag is probably the best bag I've ever bought. And luckily, the skeleton thing is the bit that's against my body, so I'll never have to look at that really. But good work, Peter McKinnon and Gomatic. Next bag, and the first bag that I didn't buy, I was gifted this. This is from Compagnola, and they shipped this to me with a backpack, which I think is just the most incredible backpack. I'll talk about that another time because this video isn't about backpacks. But this is something a little bit different in that it is expandable. Now this roll top can be treated as a completely separate compartment to the bit where you traditionally put your gear, or you can zipper off the divider, hide that, and treat it as one big space. Now I have said that one of the benefits of a sling bag is that it's constrained. You have to really make hard choices about what it is that you're taking with you. The problem with a sling bag is that, for example, you have to be dressed exactly as you need to be for an entire day of photography sometimes. And if, for example, you want to take your jacket off halfway through the day, there isn't always somewhere to put your jacket in one of these other bags. With this, there is, and typically what I've used this expandable bit for is to throw a lightweight jacket in on top of my gear. So that I really, really like, and this buckle is very fast access, but also secure. Now, the main thing about this bag that I don't like is the fact that the zip opens up backwards. Does that make sense? Opens up backwards. The zip is on the back, predominantly. And what that means is that if the bag is loaded, i.e. I've got a camera in it, it will sit against my body because of the weight. And then trying to open the zip, bear with me, or close the zip when it's against my body kind of feels a bit cramped. I'd much prefer the zip to open from the front. So what I've ended up doing is just using this buckle and using the roll top to access everything. So yeah, really, really good bag. I like having a bit of extra room to put something like a jacket. I just wish that the zip opened out onto the front somehow. That would be the only thing that I'd change about this bag. And the last bag is this Wotancraft, I don't know if that's how you say it, so I apologise if I've got that wrong, but Wotancraft Pilot 7 litre. And this bag doesn't employ any zips for the main compartment, it's just a fidlock buckle, but basically this flap opens up into a big area for all of your gear. And they very kindly sent me these optional pouches that you can buy, which you can then strap on to the front of the bag like this. A good idea for expandability, I think. I've not found cause to use them yet, but maybe I will in future. Now my favourite thing about this bag, apart from the Fidlock buckle, is this iPad divider, which you can add in or take out should you need an iPad. And lots of these bags either have room for an iPad or they don't, but if they do, it's not optional. It's always just there. And if you don't need to carry an iPad around with you for a shoot, then it's wasted space. There are zips for the smaller compartments, which again are fantastic. Lots and lots of room for batteries, cards, filters, all the rest of it. And again, there's a handle / luggage pass-through, although this one looks a bit small. Oh, no, idiot. There's the luggage pass-through. And also actually, a la Peak Design, they've got a very good system via this pull tab for quickly adjusting the length of the strap, which I think works brilliantly. If you want it to be high up on your back, but then you want to get stuff out of the bag, you can quickly adjust it, and works very well. Also, this bag is nearly as soft as the Bellroy, so probably packs down nearly as small. So I would say for travel, when you're not having to use a sling in the airport while you're traveling, either this or the Bellroy would be the one for you. If I had to choose, I'd probably just about go with a Wotancraft. If you want expandability and the option of keeping some clothing or whatever with you, then I would go for the Compagnola, but just accept that if you're going to use the zip, in my experience, you might find it a bit frustrating. The Peak Design is a really good all-rounder, I think. And again, I just wish I had it in black. Oh, also, I would say with the 10-litre one, I don't mind the 10-litre one, but it looks like a laptop bag. And it can fit my laptop in it. But it's quite bulky, boxy, and has a tendency to sort of move around your back quite a lot, I find. The 6-litre for me seems to work a lot better. It's smaller though, obviously. And then my favourite sling is actually this, my newest sling, which I've only shot with for one day. It's this Gomatic Peter McKinnon one, minus the pirate thing on the back. Fantastic design. That is inspired. Anyway, that concludes my summary of sling bags. Hopefully that was useful. I now need to go and start sifting through the 10,000 photos I took in the Arctic last week on our Svalbard expedition. It was an amazing trip, lots of new friends, had an absolute blast. But yeah, 10,000 photos is quite daunting. Also, actually, if you fancy joining us on the next trip like that we do on that ship, the Greg Mortimer, then come to Antarctica in 2026, February 2026. All the details are on a page that I've linked to in my description. There are still some places left, so if you fancy joining us for that, then you can inquire on that page. And also a huge thank you to the sponsor of this week's video, Squarespace, where at some point I hope to write a blog post about the pros and cons of these bags, because it's a very simple thing to do to write blog posts on Squarespace. My Squarespace website is also where I've added a page with some of my favourite shots that I've gone through so far from that Svalbard trip. So you can check out some of those photos if you fancy too. And aside from sling bags, I think a website is one of the most useful tools that a photographer can have. Somewhere where you can show your work online in a way that you control entirely, that isn't dependent on social media algorithms, on social media compression, somewhere where your work isn't viewed pretty much exclusively on phones or really small mobile devices. And if you're after a website, then I couldn't recommend Squarespace enough. They have so many templates for photographers to choose from, and you don't need to know a single line of code to benefit from them. It's all drag and drop. And my Squarespace website is where my portfolio lives. It's where I sell all my prints and my new book. It's where I sell my presets. It's what I send newsletters from. And it's where hopefully in the next few days I'll write a blog post about slings. Anyway, if you fancy trying out Squarespace for yourself, you can go to squarespace.com to start a free trial. And after that, if you'd like to make a purchase, just go to squarespace.com/James and you'll get 10% off your first purchase. So a big thank you to Squarespace for the continued support of this channel, and thank you to you for watching. And hopefully you, as I say, you found this interesting. Don't like that skull.